Hello, I'm Jenny McNess, and in this video I will explain how to draw a footprint of your learning experience in any given course, or a footprint of your design intentions for a course. All the background information about how Roy, Simone and I developed this framework for investigating learning in complex learning environments can be found on this wiki. You might like to start by reading the executive summary on the About Footprints page, which is here. This summary gives you the background to our thinking about footprints of emergence. On the home page, you can also see a link to applications of footprints. On this page, there are many examples of footprints. If I click on the Montessori preschool footprint and center it on the page, we can see a clear example of what the drawing process results in. This drawing shows a dark area in the center of the circle. This depicts the prescriptive zone. If we thought of this diagram in 3D, then this would be a valley, a relatively safe enclosed area where the learning paths are predetermined for the learners. Climbing out of this valley would take us onto a flat open plateau with many more choices for learning direction. We have called this area, the light area on the diagram, the sweet emergence zone. This more open area is where learning is co-created between learners and course conveners. Moving out from this zone towards the edge, we have to start climbing again. The learning here is challenging and can be experienced as edgy or even scary. And at the dark blue edge, the learning experience has become chaotic and the learner is in danger of falling off or out of the course. The diagram also shows, in abbreviated form, the factors which we use to describe the complexity of learning. You can see them here as points along the line of the footprint. So, in this Montessori classroom, we can see that there is enough risk for emergent learning to occur, but there is also trust. In fact, this footprint falls mostly in the sweet emergent zone. Details of these factors can be found on the Critical Factors page. On this page, we have identified 25 factors which we have arranged in 4 clusters. The first cluster we have named Open Structure. You can scroll down to see the other factors. On this page, we have described each factor on a spectrum from prescriptive to emergent. Refining the description of these factors is ongoing, and we continue to add further information on linked pages. So here, for example, for the factor risk, it links to a page which explains more of our thinking about what we mean by risk in association with learning. To draw a footprint, you will need to keep this Critical Factors page open or print off a copy. Now let's go to the Drawing Footprints page. There is a lot of information here about how we have developed and refined the process, but for now it is enough to know that we will use palette 2. If I scroll down, we can see a diagram of this palette. We have called this a palette because it is entirely up to you which factors you use. You do not have to use them all, and you may want to add some of your own. Before starting to draw, decide on the perspective you are taking. Do you want to describe your own learning experience of a given course? Or your perception of the design of the course? Or are you drawing from the designer's perspective, that is, your design intentions for a given course? It is possible to draw one or all of these for any one course. To draw a footprint on paper, you can print off and mark up the palette 2 diagram. Simply imagine lines radiating out from the prescriptive zone in the centre to the edge of the emergent zone, with each line representing a factor, and position a point on each imaginary line according to whether your experience of that factor was of prescriptive or emergent learning. When you have considered all the factors, then, if you wish, save your drawing, scan it, and upload it to the applications page, or send it to Roy, Simone, or me for uploading. Don't forget to label it with the course it represents. And you can add your name if you wish, but footprints can be anonymous. It's entirely up to you. Alternatively, you can use this Palette 2 Word version document here to draw your footprint electronically. I'll open that up now for you to see it, and again center it on the page. To draw with this palette, you need to click in the center of the diagram to bring up the drawing square, and then right-click to reveal edit points in the menu. All the points will then appear, and you can begin to move the points to positions that represent your experience. So, for example, you might think for your course that risk is not high and much lower. The course is more prescriptive, and you can move it towards the centre. Or, for example, for this factor, diversity, you might think there wasn't a lot of diversity in the course to the point of almost being chaotic, and move this point right out towards the edge. You can also add or delete points. So here we have 2 points, and I don't need them both. If I right-click, I can delete a point. And in the same way, I can add a point if I need an extra one. You can also decide on which factors to use. So if I go here to theory of mind, this is a factor that's not always used in the footprints, and so I can remove it and put it back in the palette. And I would also need to remove the point from the footprint. Then all that remains for you to do is to label your footprint. You can label your footprint here with your name and or the name of your course. So I'll just put in my name, Jenny, here. When you have completed your drawing, you can upload it to the applications folder. To do that, you will need to save this drawing as an image. The way that I usually do that is to take a screenshot of it. So now I'll drop that and go back to the drawing page. Finally, just to say that we have found in the workshops that we have run that ultimately it's not the drawing of the footprint or the accuracy of the drawing that is of most value. The value lies in the consideration and discussion of the factors. So these footprints can be drawn individually, but a lot more is to be learned if they are drawn collaboratively or at least discussed with others. So I think that's about it from me. We look forward to receiving more footprints for discussion, and thank you for listening.